Good afternoon, and welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to our Hermitpack modded Minecraft Let's Play series. So, since last episode, I've done a bit of exploring, and I have found where we're going to be moving to. So, there is a few things that I'm going to need before we can get moved into that. So, we're going to be working on that this episode, and next episode we should be moved in there. It'll take a little while to get it all set up, but I think by next episode we should be able to move in. And if so, next episode we're probably going to be upgrading our oil again. Because like right now we're making this oil, but I think we could push it a bit farther and get more power out of our oil. So that's what we're going to be doing next episode. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to want is another thing from RF Tools. And that is the builder block. So we're just going to need we're going to need a machine frame and stuff. Alright, so there we go. And so let's get our builder block. Now this, normally I would wait till later in the game to get this, but we need it for what we need to do. Oh, that's all I'll say. So once you see where we're going to be living, you'll understand. I'll go ahead and throw that in there. Now the way the builder works is you can set it up with a card and give it a shape and all this stuff, and you can have it automatically build stuff for you. But you can also have it quarry for you. And personally, the builder is my personal favorite quarry, or one of my favorites. You know, it's an absolute wonderful quarry. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get a card for this. You can either get a shape card, and the shape card, what it does is it will build for you. So if you want to make a big like cylinder or something like that, you can have this build for you by setting the corners for it and then giving it the shape that you want. Now in addition, there's a void quarry, and basically it just destroys everything within the area, and this would be like a good way to clear out an area because it's fairly cheap. It's 150 RF per tick per block. So, not terrible. Then you also have like your quarries right here. You have a quarry, a silk quarry, and a fortune quarry. Now the way these work is they are going to, any block that they dig up is going to be replaced with dirt. So, if you don't want the big hole and everything where you're quarrying, that would be your choice. Then there's a clearing quarry, which is going to mine up all blocks but leave the big hole. And there's silk and fortune for that as well. And then you also have a pump and a clearing pump that's going to get stuff out of there. So, like liquids out of there. So, you can make all these different cards. Now, we're going to start with just a shape card because you have to have this in order to make the later cards and everything. Alright, so let's go ahead and snag this. What am I missing? Oh, bricks. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and take this another step farther because we don't want the shape card. It's actually kind of expensive to build. So I think what we're going to go with is the clearing quarry. So it is a little bit expensive on power for us at the moment. It's, well, not clearing silk. It's 300 RF per tick per block. But realistically, it's only double that of the void quarry. And we're going to be doing something this episode to make up for the power consumption. Alright, so we're going to need, a diamond pick, diamond shovel, and that should get us our quarry. And then we just need to surround this with glass. So, I've got some glass cooking. I don't know if it's quite done yet. Okay, so there is our clearing quarry. Very, very nice. And so now this is ready to set up. There is one other thing that we're going to need, which is a lever. And then we're also going to need some power and some item storage. Let me grab, just snag that for now. Oh, there's some chests. Okay, so as for a demonstration, let me also grab, what kind of blocks? Well, I'll just deal with the mountain, so 1 second. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll set it up right here. right over here. Meh. Okay, we'll put it right here. This sounds good. So we'll put down our builder block, and then you're going to put a chest on top of it. So the chest on top of it, if this is building, like with a shape card, it's going to pull items from the chest above it. And then if it's quarrying, it's going to output to the chest. And then, of course, from there you can pull with item conduits and all that good stuff. And we're going to put a lever on the side of this, because this does have to have a redstone signal to run. And we'll just stick our power right here. And it's going to drain. It's going to fill this up. Honestly, this basic capacitor is not even going to scratch very much of this. But we'll be fixing that up this episode. But anyways, we can just shift right click the builder block, and we can set this up. You can actually go out a little ways. It doesn't have to be right next to the builder block at all. But we can set, like, say this is our first corner, and then we can set so we can go down here and we can set this as our next corner. Okay. It's not going to quarry all of this because it's not going to have the power to do so. But just as an example. Alright, it's pulled everything out of that basic capacitor to get a tenth of its max capacity. So anyways, what we can do is we can right click now with this on the builder, and it's going to install the module. Or whoops, I forgot one thing. Once you have the module, if you shift right click here, you can set the shape. So if you do like a box, it's going to do a box. But if you want to actually quarry an area, you do need to go over here to solid box. But there's boxes, spheres, cylinders, torus, which is basically like a sphere. I'm not sure the real difference because they look the exact same to me, but different domes, all that stuff. So, and then if you do just the standard ones, it's just going to do the outside. It's really, really good. That would be used, I feel like that would be used more for if you're building something, because you don't want it to be a solid something, so you could do like the exterior with that. So let me get a solid box, and you can also tell it to avoid certain things like stone, cobble, dirt, gravel, sand, netherrack, and it will automatically destroy those things as it mines them. I'm not going to set it to avoid anything right this second just because I want you to see the stuff coming in, but once you have that set up, if you just give that some redstone, and if we pop over here, there you go. It quarried that much with that like 1 million RF. So it is a very, very fast quarry. It runs through stuff extremely quickly, but it also eats through some power when it's moving at full speed. You can also make it so that the blocks don't make sound, makes it so that you don't move entities whenever it's quarrying. Preview mode, so you can see like the area that it's going to quarry. And what's neat is whenever it does this, you can actually get on top of these support blocks and walk around on them. So they actually become like a solid item. So, and then you can also tell it to do a single run and then stop. So basically what that would do is if you had like a really big quarry, it would eat through one full chunk and then it would stop and wait for a new redstone signal. So if you wanted to kind of limit how fast it moved through stuff, you could do that. But if we look in here, you'll notice that we have a ton of dirt. Go ahead and snag this stuff so I can throw it in there. Gravel and all this good stuff. So honestly, for the amount of power, it did quarry a decent amount. It actually quarried more than I expected at 1 million RF. But let's go ahead and set up the next part of what we're wanting. So next up, I want to get into mechanism. So we're going to go really, really heavy windmills. And it's not really for our basis power. Normally, I wouldn't go into just windmills just right out the gate like this because they're a little bit on the OP side, I feel like. But we are going to use this to clear out that area where we're wanting to live. So we're just going to need a couple furnaces, some iron, osmium. It's actually really, really simple. Really, really simple shopping list. So let's get a couple of those. And I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of these to start with, just because starting out, mechanism stuff's not the fastest in the world. So I'd like to go ahead and speed it up. So I'm going to set this stuff up like right here for now. We'll be moved by hopefully next episode. So for right now we can be a little bit cramped. That's why I didn't do too much, because it's like we're kind of cramped. So, but I did explore and find where I want to go next. So the next thing that we're going to want to get our windmills is a combination of enriched alloys and basic control circuits. So enriched alloy is iron with redstone on the left slot, and basic control circuits is osmium with redstone on the left slot. So let's go ahead. I'm going to just go ahead and make 30 of each of these, because thing is, you will use them if you do anything with mechanism, really. You're going to eat through those enriched alloys and control circuits. So those are going to start running, and we'll give them just a second here. Now, in addition, we're also going to need these energy tablets, which are mainly just enriched alloy with some gold. So, alright, so we've got a fair number of those to get started with. So let's go ahead and get our energy tablets. That's really just 2 windmills, I guess. Okay. And then our windmills. Pa-pow. Pa-pow. So there's 2 of them. That'll help, you know, initially. Alright, now we should have enough to make a few more of these. Let's see. I got some conductive iron to make us some power and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we should be able to get 1 more, or I mean 2 more. And these are honestly not bad power. They really, really aren't. And if you can find a decent area to get some altitude, which that's the nice thing about the RF Tools thing, is because it doesn't have to be right up where you're quarrying in order to quarry. So where we're going to live, there's actually some higher altitude areas around it. And so we will be setting that up, you know, with some decent altitude in place. But what we can do is we can just set this stuff up. Do something like, can you please move? Thank you, thank you. Okay, that works. I forgot to make the actual conduits that we're going to need. But as long as there's nothing above the wind generator, it's going to run pretty solid. I mean, you can pile them up together and it really doesn't matter, because those things, they run fine. So they really are a really powerful energy source. And honestly, if mechanism's in the pack, you can just scale wind generators for a long time and produce plenty of power if you so desired. But I tried to, you know, mix it up a little bit and not just use that. But you'll notice that we are generating quite a bit of power at a fairly decent rate. So we can go ahead and kick this back on. And you'll see that it's already ran through that. So, let's take a look. Yeah, see, it ran through and got all that stuff. That's actually quite a bit. How did it get so much cobble? I don't feel like it quarried that much stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't really feel like... It may have quarried somewhere else. I've noticed that RF Tools seems to have this issue lately where it'll dig like a different area. I don't know. I feel like that is a lot of cobble. Now, in addition, we could adjust this, and I believe this is Y level, right? So we could go like, say, 20 on the offset, or negative 20. Throw this in there. And it's quarrying somewhere right now. So you'll notice that we can dig stuff up at a fairly decent rate. I don't really know where it's digging. It's digging somewhere, though. Yeah, it's doing 4 different chunks. But you'll notice that, I mean, it's pulling in stuff at a decent rate. And we can keep expanding these wind generators, and they make really easy, maneuverable power, I guess you would say. So, I mean, it doesn't take a second to throw down, say, 10 wind generators in an area, throw down a builder block, and just start quarrying. So, the builder block still has to be within a reasonable range of what you're quarrying. At least for my testing, I've never got it to work at a far distance or anything. But, it won't take a second to set this up, where we're going to be building and just quarry out the area. So, plus we'll get all the resources out of it. So we could have an absolute ton of resources by next episode. So, because mining, the thing I've noticed about on here is I went mining and I've got like 7 diamonds, but I did quite a bit of mining and it was all at like lower Y levels. You just, in this realistic world, dude, I haven't been finding a ton of stuff. So, we'll see. We'll see what we get from, running this quarry and everything. So, you'll notice I'm actually not pulling out, I'm not coming out too bad. And we could, of course, void all this. I'm going to void cobblestone whenever we actually set up the area, because we have to quarry quite a big area. But we're going to void things like cobblestone and maybe just cobblestone. Actually, I'll probably set up storage drawers, let them fill up the storage drawers, and then cobblestone will be filled by the time we even get around to that. But I think that's what I'm going to do. So, but yeah, good stuff. I'm actually pretty happy with that because I've never set one of these up by 3rd episode. So, very interesting. Also for the item storage, I think what I'm going to do is probably set up a couple, well, more than a couple, be a fair number of the RF tools storage blocks like we made last episode. I'll just throw a couple of those with item conduits, attach it to this chest, have it pull out and go into those RF tool storages, and then we'd be set. And then I could just, if I wanted to, I could just switch out the cards, maybe throw down like 5 of the storage blocks, and then as, check it every so often and go, okay, this card's almost filled, let me switch it. And then I just end up with a bunch of cards instead of the actual blocks, and then whenever we get ready to set it all up, we can just set those cards up and have them extract into our refined storage system. Because that was originally what I wanted to work on this episode, but this came up. So next episode, we'll probably be working on refined storage, because there is a block from that I need for what I'm going to be setting up with the oil generation system. So we may start refined storage next episode in the new home. Is what I'm hoping. And then the episode after that, we will expand on our oil setup. And I think what we're going to do is, instead of just upgrading to energized oil, we're going to go ahead and upgrade all the way and make the best oil that we can, which is basically the way the oil works is, you have your initial oil that's produced when you run this stuff through the canola press. You get that canola oil, which is meh. And then it goes into the fermenting barrel and canola oil becomes oil. That's your tier 2 oil. Then from there, you can empower it, or not empower it, but basically you take a canola seed, like for example, you take one of these and you throw this down. I did not set that far enough back. There we go. And you get one of these crystallized canola seeds. And then from there, what you can do is you can take, I'm just showing you kind of an example real quick. If you take and throw this crystallized canola in there, you end up with this crystallized oil. And then from there, if you take the other seed, which is the empowered seed, which this is made just in the empower, which we haven't got into just yet, but we will. You have to use a crystallized canola seed and then some additional canola seeds, and you get this empowered canola seed. So what we're going to do is we are going to basically automate that whole system so that we're making crystallized, we're making empowered, and we're taking our oil all the way through. And that, by the way, that empowered has to be thrown into the crystallized oil. So what I want to do is I want to set up just a nice, decently sized area in the new base that handles all this canola processing. And what we'll do is we'll expand this. I want more farming and stuff going. For that, probably a few more farms. And we'll probably just, honestly, we'll probably just stack them. So we'll have like farm, and then like block layer, farm, block layer, farm, block layer, and so on. And I'll do some kind of lighting and stuff in there, I think. But I think that's what we're going to do. And then we'll just have all that canola being processed and everything. So, but yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I've got a pretty good idea I was writing down for how I want to do that whole system and everything. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you found it helpful. Next episode, we should be set on resources and have a new home, is what I'm hoping. It's what I'm hoping. At least, you know, a rough home. So, at least some place to hang our hat for the time being. But yeah, so anyways, if you enjoyed it, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. And until next time, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you guys next time.